Good day, friends. It's facing the sun in Montana. The weather changes, these cold mornings and powerful, hot afternoons. Um, just moving toward that time of day, and so much gratitude, so many people coming into my life, and just so many rich stories. Some very advanced dreamers. All of us just meeting, and a lot of people are joining the multiplicity course, so it's really, you're all welcome to join anytime. It's just an incredible energy to be a part of. I'm so honored, and I appreciate that those that are ready to go into deeper levels or having the courage to do so, to share vulnerably, to be willing to be honest with themselves and others. That's just the biggest piece here. A lot of people try to pretend they're further along than they are, and a lot of people deny how far along they are, and that's the brutal honesty that we need to come to, or that we get to come to. We don't need to do anything. No more pressure, more in alignment with acquiescing, receiving, and understanding that there are no mistakes, that everything that ever happened was a part of the dreamscape of your reality for a reason, serving a vital purpose in your process of coming to know yourself, to reach inner standing and free yourself from all the many layers of hypnosis that continue to present themselves. So thankful to Jason Brashears, Alex Zek, the combination of the latest two talks and adventures. So many people are coming in, and I still do free consults, and it's just amazing that I'm so glad I do. I just keep meeting the most incredible people. A lot of people are joining the course, and it just gets stronger the more people that are in place to experience the shift. When we're doing shamanic movement together in sync, there's a powerful effect that it has. So yeah, I do it outside often, and the wind and the birds and the dynamics that unfold, it's all connected and collecting. There's like a force field that surrounds us as a group when we do the work, and this happens in other systems. There's just so much magic to tap into with the earth and the sun. Um, a lot of us are having really unique dreaming experiences and really benefiting from opening up that side of things. And I'm a big advocate for releasing your inventory. Information is heavy. Knowledge is not information. Knowledge is power. And the ability to be lucid does not mean that you know a bunch of facts. It's good that you learned what you learned, but there's a way to let it go. Give it to the earth, and she'll give you back the parts of it that you need when you need it. So instead of having to carry around an inventory, you sort of have access to an understanding or an understanding that is just lighter. And it takes a while to make that adjustment. It's not an easy thing to do, and especially if you're in like a matrix job, that's the biggest test. Can you not take on the burden that comes with that and just be, in your lucidity and your creativity and your imagination while you're carrying responsible weight within a system like a construction project or whatever. It's a really cool thing to free yourself into and realize you're totally capable. You're a brilliant, unique individual with an authentic gift, and if you were given the proper support to develop that, then you would have all the tools and resources to thrive in any environment. As long as you're willing to raise your hand and ask questions and show up, spirit will open a door for you when you're courageous like that. So It's good to go away from all the matrix jobs and heal and reset your being and get into places in which you can regulate your nervous system. But I just want people to know how powerful they are, that you can do it all differently than you did it before, and your blueprint doesn't determine your reality. But it does until it doesn't, right? It's about getting into that blueprint in a way that unbinds it. Jason had some powerful teachings at the Archaics event in Virginia Beach I got to speak at. It was really life-changing, beautiful weekend for me, and just really appreciate everyone on that whole team. So many deep processes, experiences, revelations, conversations, and just a magical place to be. I had no idea how beautiful Virginia Beach is, and it's just a brilliant experience for me. But Jason's teachings were significant. It's really powerful what he's doing, what he explains, how he does it. Uh, Not everybody's ready for it because it's just so confronting, the simplicity of it. And and I really appreciate that he was able to articulate it in the way that he did. Obviously, what I present is abstract and mysterious and not meant for everybody, but you can tell those that were there that could receive what I was sharing. You could see their perception shift, and it lit up, a particular group of people, and it's opened a door for us all to connect now. And so there's a lot of mystical folks that are inside of the Archaics knowledge, because his We Are Immortals playlist is like nothing else. So he's offering that perspective alongside of all the data. And I don't want him to be any different than he is. I'm glad he's holding that court over there. It's needed. He's offering a vital version of helping people come out of hypnosis. So, but then the Alex Zek time was amazing as well, and there's just been a lot of people coming in from listening to that podcast that came out recently. So if you haven't heard that on the Way Forward podcast, I think it's the best talk that I've ever been a part of. Alec did an amazing job, and that's mostly what I'm hearing from people is like, oh my God, Alec is an amazing interviewer. So thank you, brother. I hope you're receiving that message. I know you got a lot going on, and and then just really appreciate Mike Winter and Berlando, and that they're connecting with Archaics and the way they are, and just seem to resonate with all of these different ways of tapping into community. I'm glad we're all meeting each other, and there's a lot of crossover, and but these consults, like, I'm so thankful to be able to. I've gone from being so private to be meeting so many magical people all at once, right? And I spent a lot of time in my aloneness as a means to sort of, I was energetically being prepared for being able to hold space like this. But it's quite intense to meet so many people day after day that have such profound, moving, emotionally challenging stories. But it's opened my heart on a level that is new for me. Everything I'm doing is unprecedented, and I really appreciate your support for watching this, for anyone that reaches out or joins my courses. It makes it possible for me to keep doing this, which is a dream come true. I didn't know it was my dream, but spirit shows you how to be of service, and when you receive and acquiesce to that guidance, then real magic is presented in your day-to-day affairs, as well as the more overarching process, right? So I began this sharing just not 3 years ago or something, and here I am just getting flooded with really unique conversations one after another, and I really appreciate it. It's just sincerely a boost of energy that I want to make use of, and help others to do the same. Just pass the baton there's going to be more and more people that really need authentic, honest conversations and are struggling to find places in which that can occur. And so the significance of what we can do with that understanding. There's just not a lot of people like us. I mean, we it seems like there is, but it's still quite a significant minority compared to the groupthink that is played out on all around us. You go out in the world and sit in a restaurant and listen to people's conversations, but more and more, I've had some people just see me, run into me at the store, that recognize me from Archaics interviews and stuff. So um, this is part of it. Part of the ego journey is to be willing to have shit talked about you, or to be people try to put you on a pedestal, and the pedestal keeps you from the earth, right? And I see that happens. If you're not on the earth, then there's no way to be in communication with her to the degree that you would need to proceed. And so honoring how difficult this is for people that aren't used to that or didn't know that and allowed that pedestal to get created. How we get it down from that pedestal is key. There is a way to climb down so you don't get hurt getting knocked down, or somebody taking it out from underneath you, whether that's a personal relationship or what. It shows up in sexual relationships where you put someone on a pedestal within the relationship, and then all the dynamics that are challenging within that as well. So our perspective, our capacity to project and create our reality is incredible. And we often create realities that aren't necessary. But the experience was necessary to learn about being a creator within your reality. And so people that speak and complain and talk about the past in a particular way are building their reality by the things they choose to talk about. But we also don't want to skip the process of telling us your story and venting and explaining what's happened to you. There's a way to set up those conversations so they're more efficient, and that you understand the way in which the power of words and the power of feelings and intention operate, and start to guide and direct your will with your feelings through the expression of your words. And Jason really did go into how to help a person one step by step with speaking forward what it is that they want, period. And if you can get it simple enough and don't bring the past into it, your subconscious will reveal what you really deeply know you need and want. And so the guidance that's available to us is not just, through some sort of spiritual faith-based thing. The animals communicate, the earth is communicative, the sun, plants have consciousness, trees are unique in their own way. Some trees will say yes to working with you, others will say no. You might be cultivating a piece of property and it's telling you to leave, and you don't understand that, or don't know how to receive that, and your blinders are telling you this has to work, I have to have it this way, and you're being rejected. I hear about this stuff all the time. It's hard to tell people or help them come to terms with things sometimes because they don't want to hear what is being presented. But when the blinders come off, boom, just because this isn't going to work out over here, there's totally something over here that will resolve all of it. And when your blinders are off, then you're not fixed on how things have to be. You become expansive. You're listening with the backside of your being. That's what the shamanic movements do. When you learn how to move freely and allow your being to be guided into trance states of expression with your body, you are given guidance not just through that, but then it makes you pliable to receive messaging. So that's why I help people to get out of their limitations around how they express themselves physically, because when you can dance and unbind yourself from there's a way to move into a trance state in which you're being moved instead of you moving your body. Or you can reach these moments where you can raise your arms in the air without using your physical form, because you reached a layer of the dreaming body and you're basically lifting your physicality with your will. So psychedelics, usually are involved if that's occurring, but the beauty of it is we don't need the psychedelics to be able to do that. And then darkroom dreaming and things like that will open the door significantly once you flow into the state of comfort with looking at the colors inside of rooms. Or if you do shamanic movement inside of a dark room, that was brought up in the course the other day, or yesterday. And so anyways, there's just an infinite ways to get creative and playful and reclaim our imagination, but it is a really intense world. It's a place of power, so you're going to experience jolts, and realizing that we share this realm with other interdimensional beings, and that can feel really intense and uncomfortable. You can go through stages of spiritual fear around that realization, but it's not permanent. The fear is just sort of like a facade or a stage that you don't have to allow to remain. And it's really that simple, but inside of the fear it feels impossible, so it will pass. And then you don't, because if you're in fear, then it's just so easy to control you. And so it's not meant to stay there. It's just meant to scare you away from proceeding on the path of knowledge. So just do what you got to do. Be okay with that. Understand where you're at. Get to your emotions, and then the path will be clear as how and when to proceed, and in what way, and with whom. And it's okay to raise your hand and ask for help, and come interact with us in the wolf pack. It will completely change your perspective of what's possible. But it's all timing. Not It's just whenever you're ready, if you're called. And excited for December. Met a lot of people that are looking forward to come, and we'll be hanging out in Missoula and for a few days doing some powerful work together. And Montana's a magical place. There's a lot going on energetically, and it takes a little extra something to arrive at an event, like what I'm offering. So that in itself is just it's 90% of it's just showing up, and then letting the energy present to you things that will make it easier to create the life that you want, rather than a life that you've been conditioned to believe through the limitations or the blindfolds or the blinders. Love is real. Carol Tiggs of the Toltec lineage has said that that's all that matters, and there's a way to get to that. Again, the Castaneda world got really focused on achievement, and it got culty in a lot of different ways, but she's still alive, and her messaging was really simple, and it wasn't based on fear, and she is very lucid, or very otherworldly, and is tapped into a totally different feeling than anything that has to do with what kind of has been continued through the seemingly patterning of the Castaneda followers. And so our ability to move into relationships that are evolutionary, I think, is pretty key, because that's where the de-armoring occurs, is in the love. So I've seen a lot of shamans try to do what Don Juan did, which is become celibate, without going through certain stages. And maybe the peyote is what made it possible for Don Juan. I'm not saying that there's only one way, but what a man and a woman can learn from each other is so significant and so difficult to truly face, become more vulnerable, and really feel your depths of your wound from childhood, because something happened to us all at certain stages around how we were. The unconsciousness of our parents left an imprint and a trauma in our being, no matter what. I mean, maybe if you were raised by Toltecs or something, and it could be very different. But like my elder was taken away from his mother so that you'd never be hypnotized in the way that most people are, through like the standard nurturing process. And it worked, it kept his perception away from domesticated. He was a very wild dreamer and never took on his mother's hypnosis. But think about how traumatizing that is, to have your grandfather take you away from your mom. The mother's the nurturer. And so he became a powerful shaman and sorcerer, and they followed the prophecy, and it led to significant things. But ultimately everyone got hurt who got involved in it, because the shadow wasn't dealt with. It just was a monster. So power is not where it's at unless it's balanced and humble. And then because this is a world of power, we need to reclaim our power so that we can stand as sovereign, energetic beings capable of witnessing what's really happening without being thwarted. So Toltecs are one of the few beings that really defy the archonic forces by not feeding them their energy. And that in itself is a threat. So developing what's called unbending intent makes that possible to do so. And then the dreaming gets really, really magical, because nothing is interfering with your dreaming at that point. I mean, at least to the degree that the average person is. So as Jason talks about, the program has to run extra energy to control you now, so it's actually going to let you go. But it's, what I would add to that is it's going to try to maneuver itself to position and create an illusion of grandeur so that it can control you in a different way and make you think that you're special, and override or gain access to your ego in a way that it makes sure that you basically spread your wound outward, like my elder did to his apprentices. So I'm not trying to create any bullshit. I'm looking to create or be part of a circle of aware people that we learn to have like a council, and we keep each other. We all have a unique voice that can bring attention to areas that are unconscious. But like reality transurfing talks about, there's a pendulum that enters when a certain amount of people come together. Something will occur. And so knowing that ahead of time, I'm not claiming to understand what to do or how to do it. All I know is that human mass is necessary. Like the Mayans, if we can learn to dream together and focus on one thing at a time, then we can learn to intend together. And that is how we evolve, especially women having the ability to dream forward reality tunnels, is the fact that they have a womb. They can create worlds, they can create life, they determine our evolution according to the Toltecs. And so women have been programmed to be complacent and to not pursue their power. And we're in a time where women are being asked to move back into their feminine instead of using their masculine, because they were copying the patriarch as a means to survive it. Much love, friends. Quite the rant, but that's just how I do it. Reach out if you ever want to chat, and feel free to join the course or show up in December. And my website's joelschaefer.com. Be well.